Let's talk about the decimal rules. Today, we're going to focus on multiplication. Now, with multiplication of decimal numbers, it is important to line up numbers as if they were whole numbers in order to solve the equation. Also, place the decimal in the product, which is the answer to a multiplication equation, based on the total number of digits that are to the right of the decimal in both factors, or both numbers of the equation. Now, I will say this is the most important part if you don't take anything else away. To the right of the decimal in both factors of the multiplication equation. So let's show an example of how to solve a multiplication equation with decimal numbers. So, in my example, my equation is 15 and 21/100 times 1 and 9/10. Now remember, in addition and subtraction, we were lining these numbers up according to the decimal point in each number. Now, with multiplication, that's not the case. So I'm going to take my first number, 15 and 21/100, and then I'm going to write my multiplication sign, and then immediately I'm going to write 1 and 9/10. Now, you can see the decimals do not line up, and that's okay. That's not a problem. What you're doing is you're kind of lining up these numbers next to a solid wall here. So we're just going to have the multiplication wall. And we want to keep everything lined up against that red wall. Now, let's go ahead and just solve this equation as if it were a plain old whole number multiplication, multi-digit equation. So I'm going to start with the 9. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Drop the 8, regroup the 1. 9 times 5 is 45. Plus 1 more is 46. Drop the 6, regroup the 4. 9 times 1 is 9. Plus 4 more is 13. So there is the first partial product. Now we'll put our placeholder just like we normally would. And then we're going to go over to the 1. And we'll start multiplying it through the entire number at the top. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Don't need those. 1 times 5 is 5. And 1 times 1 is 1. Now, we have our second partial product. That makes sense because we had 2 digits in the bottom number. So we should have 2 lines in our partial products. And now we're going to add those together. 9 plus 0 is 9. 8 plus 1 is 9. 6 plus 2 is 8. 3 plus 5 is 8. 1 plus 1 is 2. Now, you are not finished yet. Here's the most important part that I was talking about above. Now, we have to come back up to our equation, our original equation. And I'm going to look at this one at the very beginning. Okay, the one that we started out with. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to the right of the decimal. So I'm looking toward the right of the decimal. And I'm going to count how many digits are to the right of the decimal in each number. Well, in our first number, 15 and 21/100ths, I have 1, 2 digits to the right of the decimal. Now I'm going to go over to 1 and 9/10ths. How many digits are to the right of the decimal in 1 and 9/10ths? We have 1 more. So now you're going to count how many total digits are to the right of the decimal in both numbers. Well, altogether, I have 1, 2, 3 digits to the right of the decimal. So what I want to do, and here's how we place the decimal in the product or the final answer to our multiplication problem. We're going to start over here at this red wall. Okay, I'm just going to put a little dot there, and I'm going to count however many digits were to the right of the decimal in my equation. I'm going to count that many spots in my answer, in my product. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and that's where my decimal is going to go in the answer. So, to rewrite the equation, 15 and 21/100ths times 1 and 9/10ths equals 28 and 800, it's kind of a messy 899 thousandths. So as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3 place values to the right of the decimal in my final answer, and I had 1, 2, 3 digits to the right of the decimal in my equation.